All right, well, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us live for this webinar with Tempo. My name is Evelyn Watts, and I'm going to be introducing all of our speakers very, very shortly. What you are here today to see is something that I think you'll agree that is a challenge for you. It's a challenge for everyone, and it's one we see across all industries. Fragmented reporting, data silos, and the struggle is real. Trying to get unified portfolio visibility is not easy and it's not instant. So let's tackle some of those things about what we can do about it and some of the products that we have that customers are using every day to kind of solve those challenges that they have as well. All right, we have the messy reality of life, which we all live and breathe when it comes to data and reporting. So we're going to just level set on what those are and the actual cost and why it's important to address these challenges rather than just live with the pain. What we want to show is also how what that path can look like, because this is not an overnight fix, and it really depends on what your team needs are, what your business needs are, and just kind of help walk through what those options are for you with Tempo. And also what we'd love to do is have our lovely, talented folks on the line show you how these tools work in action. So you'll be seeing a live product demo. And that's where most of I'd like to spend our time. So without further ado, I am going to introduce our lovely and talented panel of speakers. I'm Evelyn Watts. I lead not that I'm lovely and talented, but I'm Evelyn Watts. And I'm the director of product marketing here. And with me is my colleague Ina Kashuba, who represents the products that you're going to be seeing today, as well as Becky Schwartz, our in-house product expert on all things custom charts, and the lovely and talented Ksenia Moskalenko, who is our product manager for BI connectors. And so you'll be seeing live demos and having Q&A with these lovely folks on the call. Okay, let's do our level set before we get into all of the wonderful ways of fixing it. If you, on this call, have ever exported a Jira work log or issues list into a spreadsheet, like I have, you definitely know what the image on the left looks like. It always starts with a simple export, and then very quickly you are buried in 10 tabs, thousands of rows, and formulas everywhere. And the best part is that by the time you're done cleaning it up, leadership or team members are asking for the latest version. And it doesn't happen with just spreadsheets. Even some of the Jira's native reports can fall short as well, which ends up why people resort to exporting all of this data and doing this manually. Ideal scenario is, imagine on the right, if you had that same Jira data, but presented in a live and visual way to tell you what's actually happening in the portfolio instead of drowning in cells and rows, life would be very different, probably a lot happier. But let's look what it takes to kind of get to that level. First of all, it's always about people. It's not about tools. So the reality is, honestly, it's not spreadsheets or Jira native reporting that's the problem. They're just not built to deliver at the scale that many organizations need. They are absolutely fine for single sprints or a project, but when you're starting to look at the need for a higher level or broader view of portfolio KPIs, and you're interested in things like health, risk, budgets, that's where these tools fall short, is because they weren't designed to do that. And the truth is, the pain in an org is not one size fits all. It looks different to different people based on your role and the job you're trying to get done. So if we look at these three groups, and we're going to show examples of the challenges that they face, and then also how they can be addressed with our solutions. So let's start with our team leads, these brave souls. They are often left waiting for someone else's report to know if they're on track. So there's a time suck there. There's a delay. You may end up having executives who are dealing with summaries, or heaven forbid, tons of spreadsheets, where they don't always trust that the data is current, or they don't even have time to analyze it deeply. So therefore, the level of trust in that data gets eroded. And then finally, our brave numbers people, all of our analysts and finance folks that are buried in manual reports and reporting on the same data over and over and over again. All of this time has a cost. So we're going to look at what the cost of that challenge is, because this is how you know if it's worth fixing or you're worth just staying with the status quo. So let's look at this, and not just at our perspective, but just as an industry. What is this costing us, these gaps, if we don't address them? I did a little research. I wanted to understand some of the studies that have been done and how other larger level of how these teams are dealing with it in these different industries. So a couple of research points. I actually include links to these as well. So when you get the deck, you can go and kind of dig in further if you're interested. But just at a very high level, let's think about our team leads again. And this is basically everyone who has a keyboard job that has to work with software. Um, One is a time suck. So think of the team leads that don't have the luxury of waiting for someone else to deliver a report. They need to know in the moment, at right now, whether a sprint is on track or not. Now, the reality is, if you are bouncing, as many of us are, between Jira and spreadsheets and email or Team or Slack or all the things that you're trying to pull together that story of what's happening and what the status is, um, that's definitely a challenge. The study that I've added a link to is one done by HBR, so Harvard Business Review. And if you think about, what do we call it? There's the toggle tax is another term I've heard. It's not just the time spent clicking and having to switch between multiple applications constantly. It's the context switching as well. So that cognitive delay, that cognitive load that's happening, there is estimated it's about 4 hours a week. Imagine what you could do with an extra 4 hours a week. I'll leave you to think about that. I know what I would do. Now, if you think about our leadership teams, those who are accountable and responsible for the results that we're trying to deliver, they have all the dashboards in the world. Trust me, I've seen many of them, and there's always requests for a new dashboard. The challenge with that is, though, it still doesn't always provide trust in the data that's behind those dashboards. And these are individuals who don't necessarily have the time to dig in deep and validate and analyze all of this data. So just looking at this recent research report on leadership in specifically, of course, this is probably an anonymous confession survey, but basically 3 out of 4 leaders will only sometimes or even rarely question the data they rely on. So there's a bit of blind faith, or at least a third admit they just, even if they don't trust the data, they don't have time to analyze it properly. So if we're not getting clear and trusted summaries that our leadership teams can make decisions and act on quickly, there's a big cost to that business. And so the goal here is we want to be able to translate that team level, project level, portfolio level data to our leadership team so they can have insights, have the confidence to make decisions in real time, and reduce any lag on the business. Now, our last group that we're going to be talking about today is obviously all of our business analysts, portfolio analysts, finance teams who live and breathe this pain every day. Please give them a hug if you see them. They are tasked with reporting every single day for all teams, every week, pulling from multiple tools constantly. And research shows that this kind of manual reporting and piecemeal kind of trying to stitch things together doesn't just eat up time. What happens is it ends up leaving you with stale data. So that by the time you've delivered a report or delivered an update, it's old. And that's the challenge is instead of spending energy gathering and cleaning data constantly from all these different sources, you can unlock the time for these analysts to be forecasting on trends and advising on strategy. That's where their power is, and that's where the value of all their time and energy and beautiful brains are, not just in clicking through and trying to pull data and pull together something that's not going to be as impactful as it could be. So this is why if you are connecting Jira to different business intelligence tools, this is where that can be quite powerful. It eliminates the busy work and it really frees these different teams up to focus on the insights and actions that are going to move that business forward. Now, before we get into some of the products and solutions that Tempo's built to support these different needs, we'd love to do a quick poll question. And if you don't mind launching that poll question, I'm gonna pause for a minute. Tell us, if you will, what level of visibility you believe that your organization currently has. A moment of reflection, if you will. All right, perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much. Um, do you mind sharing these results? I know everyone's always curious what others are experiencing. And then you kind of see, well, we're split across of all the things. So whether it's the project level view, looks like about a quarter of us, a fifth of us have at least that level of visibility. The program, a department level, a quarter, that's awesome. 15, 16% having that bigger view. And again, not everyone needs that bigger view. So it just depends on maybe what your role is at the organization. Complex opera data munching going on. And then some of us just don't know. Totally fair answer. All right, so let's get into what that path can look like to the different level of visibility for the different parts of the org. And then we'll get into what those tools and solutions can look like with real use cases. So here, let me just close that screen. The way we think about it, whether it's portfolio management, strategic portfolio management, visibility across the org, none of these things happen overnight. It is definitely, I would say, a journey. It's also, you can call it scale, right? So how broad of you, how deep do you need to go in terms of what you're trying to analyze and understand? The truth is that we're all, as that poll shows, we're kind of somewhere everywhere in that stage or in that path of trying to get greater and greater visibility. So obviously some orgs, some of us on this call, I hear you, I feel you, are still wrestling with spreadsheets and disconnected tools. We do that constantly all the time. Just depends on what you're trying to get done. But if you're lucky, and it looks like some of us are, that you actually are having visibility across, at least inside a department, at least inside an area of the business that you're working on. Obviously, still dealing with silos. And then it looks like a good portion, which is lovely to see, are being able to connect some of the portfolio level visibility. And that's where you're looking at, what are your budgets? What's your delivery? What's the real outcomes that you're measuring and your leadership is being measured against? So eventually, how it looks like some folks have really gotten into the more complex, multi-threaded kind of view. What we love to be able to help organizations move forward with is how can you get to that point in time where your teams are using a lot of this complex data to have more predictive insights, to really make sure that you are continuously adapting and aligning the strategy of the business with the work that teams are doing day to day. So I think most of you recognize where your organization is, or at least the level of visibility that you currently have in your org. And so what I would say is it's not about where you are right now. So regardless of what your poll answer was, I think it's what is the next step up? How can you kind of make that progression to have greater visibility and understanding and insights in what you're working on without slowing teams down? Because this is the other thing too. The more tools, the more friction. The more places to go, the more things to do. It just adds that cognitive load and a lot of that time and manual switching, which is not what we want to do. So better momentum, quick adoption, all the lovely things we want to see for our teams and our business. Before we get into the products we're going to be demoing today, what I'd like to just showcase is here's how we think about it. This is our mental model for the different types of tools that we work with and we've built with and customers are using today. So there are always going to be different levels of visibility in a portfolio that are required. What we see for our modules is each one is purpose-built and designed to help with different types of roles and jobs to be done within an organization. That's why instead of calling these apps or products, we call them our modules. And that's because they can be used alone or together. And we honestly believe that modular, more flexible approach allows you to kind of scale across the different teams across the business and will deliver better value rather than what often happens in orgs is kind of large legacy platforms that get pushed down from above. And that's where there's a lot of always is siloed data and friction. So what we do is we have solutions that will slot in as needed, that if you, as your usage of Jira and your requirements of the business grow, you add tempo in modules so that you can get what you need when you need it, as opposed to trying to, work with a kitchen sink. So with that, I'm going to turn things over to Ina to introduce those reporting modules, the ones that you see on the far right. We're going to focus on those particular ones today. And so she'll introduce those before we begin a demo in a few moments. So Ina, over to you, my friend.
Thanks, Evelyn. I think we can all relate. None of us look at the data the same way. So let's get specific. We have talked about the reporting gap. So now let's talk about the solution. Tempo gives you a complete reporting package that covers every layer, end to end, from the tactical to analytical. The custom charts for Jira provides clarity for day-to-day delivery, turning Jira data into a living control panel for delivery leads drowning in outdated reports. While custom charts for Confluence delivers exec-ready storytelling, becoming some kind of a bridge between the project data and executive decisions for the PMOs. And with BI connectors, analysts and finance teams get the analytical deep dive, curated Jira datasets that they can blend with the financial and forecast across the enterprise. So by covering every layer, you deliver the portfolio-wide visibility that your organization needs. And all right, enough slides. Time to see it in action. Ksenia and Becky will take us through a demo so you can see exactly how the reporting layers work in practice. And we're going to start with the custom charts and then moving into BI connectors.
Thank you, Aina. I'll go ahead and share my screen and we can take a look at custom charts. All right. So yeah, as we've kind of talked about, some big things we are aiming to do when we're reporting across the portfolio is to just make things really straightforward for users when they come to view these reports. We want the reports to be easily digestible. We want them to be interactive and engaging. And I think a big thing too is it's important that they're easy to use and set up as well. So custom charts we work as gadgets on a dashboard, or if you're using the Confluence app, macros on a page. So this dashboard right here is kind of an example portfolio dashboard and some really great reports that y'all can use to just give visibility into the portfolio at all different levels. It's going to kind of act as that single source of truth in Jira across all of your projects. So when it comes to building this out, again, these are all gadgets on a dashboard, very easy to use and very straightforward. Oh, go ahead.
I don't know if you're sharing your screen. Do you want to double check?
Yeah.
Hey, there it is. My
Oh,
bad.
it's there? Okay, good. Good. I was like, I see it. Okay, awesome. So yeah, the way custom charts works is it's just gadgets on a dashboard. The main one that you'll see the most often and be using to build your reports is the custom charts gadget. So that's any kind of graph or visual that you're going to see here today. One powerful thing that I think helps make the dashboards so interactive and engaging is another gadget we have called Simple Search. So these are all part of custom charts, but this particular gadget allows you to drill into any chart that it's linked to. So let's say somebody at the team level wants to come in and only see issues in their project on this portfolio-wide dashboard, they can absolutely do that with this drop down here, for example. So yeah, these are all customizable and pretty easy to add. Let's say, for example, that somebody's viewing this dashboard and they really just quickly want to see the status of only the initiatives in the portfolio. They can actually go into this issue type dropdown right here that I've added, type in the initiative issue type, select it, and it updates all the link charts on the dashboard to only show that particular data point. So that's pretty nice because even if this is across the portfolio, your users can really drill into exactly what they need to get out of it very quickly and easily and customize that too. They can apply multiple filters at once, and they can even write their own JQL queries to update the link charts if they are comfortable with that. So we'll go ahead and clear this. I think a big thing too is what we kind of mentioned earlier is like executives, for example, are looking to get their information really quickly and easily. And these reports really do highlight things in a very digestible way and make things easy to understand. But what's really cool about Simple Search are these tabs up here as well. So for example, I made this tab that's for at-risk work. So if an executive just wants to see those issues that are maybe escalated or flagged or are or blocked, for example, I have this tab right here where I have those statuses already selected, and so it updates the link charts to only show those issues, so you can quickly jump on those and take action on them right away. So it just makes for better decision making and more quick decision making when it comes to at-risk items in the portfolio. So I will go back to all filters, and you see it's very quickly updating these link charts. So I've also got a bunch of custom charts reports on here. This one right here, as we kind of talked about, this is a 2D line chart that's showing the status of issues across the portfolio aligned with their issue types. I think one thing too that's really great about custom charts is there are a lot of visualization options you can choose from, and that really does make a big difference in how easy it is to understand the data you're displaying. So for this example here, I wanted to just highlight that you can create 2D line charts. These are really great for dates or showing progress of dates over time. If you're doing like flow charts or burn up charts, things like that, this is also a really great example. But as you can see here, you just have a lot of options in the way you can visualize this. So we can see that, for example, a lot of our stories have been escalated. So, why is that happening? What do we need to do to kind of mitigate that? This chart right here, I'm actually going to open this one up for editing just so you can kind of see how easy this was to build out and to kind of see a little bit into a new feature that is pretty helpful with portfolio reporting. So this is showing the issues in each initiative, and I'm working off of the parent field in this report right here. So you see setting this up, very straightforward. I've selected to pull in issues from a couple of different projects. They're all displayed in this bar chart right here. I get a nice live preview of it. And then in my chart by tab or my chart by dropdown, I simply typed in the field parent, selected it, and it made it the focal data point on this report. So this is really nice. And once I selected the parent field, I then get this additional customization option where I can customize the hierarchy that displays. So I am working above the epic level because this is in the portfolio. We have initiatives at the top level. So I'm able to actually set that as the top of my hierarchy, which is really great because you can go above the epic level right in custom charts. You can go above that if you have other parent levels, but you can also determine with this drop down here which issue types get included and excluded from that calculation. So if you wanted to remove like bugs and defects from a hierarchy, you absolutely could do that with this drop down here. So this is pretty new, and it's just helpful to really get those hierarchies right when you're creating these charts. You can see too, customizing these reports is super quick and easy. If I want to change a chart type's or a segment's color, I have this color picker right here, and I simply select a new color, and it's already updated for me. Reordering things, you can drag and drop to adjust the segments. And then if you want to rename things or group segments together, maybe you have a bunch of projects that are aligned with a single team, for example, you can click this plus sign and group segments into one on the report. So a lot of customizing you can do here. It's all very much based off of just drop downs, selecting from lists, things like that. So it's very easy to update this. One last thing I'll call out while we're in configuration mode of this chart is you can adjust your calculations as well. So Evelyn was talking about sprints a little bit earlier. If y'all are doing like average story points, or if you want to see velocity or anything like that, you can take a calculation, the sum or the average of story points, for example. This is going to look at any date or number field in your instance. We are going to look at time spent on a report in a minute, and that is something you can take the average or total of. So just something to keep in mind is it doesn't just work off of issue count if you've got other measurements you're trying to display on a chart. You also can show average and goal lines on our charts now. This is actually a brand new feature, but this just makes it really quick and easy for someone viewing this chart to see trends, downward and upward trends, if any of that is going on. So definitely helpful for portfolio reporting. All right, so go ahead and go back to some of the other reports here. So we do have another gadget in custom charts called issue list. And this one is really great if you're just trying to show a list of issues in the portfolio directly on the dashboard. Evelyn was talking about too, a little bit about having to context switch. And if you're having to leave the Jira dashboard to go and see a list of issues in Jira, it is typically you often have to go to that page in Jira where you search for the issues. You can actually just throw that list of issues onto the Jira dashboard with this issue list gadget, and you can even apply the filters to this. So you can see here, I have a list of issues across the portfolio. I have some really important data points shown as columns. So I have the customer journey, the value streams, I have the due date for the particular piece of work. You can add filters directly to the list to update it quickly to only show issues due this week, for example, so that those can take priority across the portfolio. You can even add smart labels to this list. So I've got a smart label added to issues that are either, you could do that for flagged issues, or you could do it for anything that's maybe in a specific status your organization uses to note issues at risk, and it adds a nice red lozenge to them. So makes very quick and easy to see what could be troublesome for us. All right, and then just to kind of quickly walk through the rest of these, just to show you some different chart types and some different ways you can get the most out of this portfolio reporting. This is a funnel chart here that's showing us the time spent on each project. In this particular example, we can see that in our Scrum project, we're spending 55% of our time here. There are a bunch of other projects though. So what is maybe causing us to spend so much time on this particular project that we've got? You could do this on initiatives as well, but it could be something to look into if the other projects aren't delivering on time, or if they're just not getting the time they need to ensure the work is quality. So yeah, you can definitely see, like, do we need to hire more people on those teams to get more time spent on these particular items? Do we need to adjust our skill sets to make sure we can do the work that's aligned with those projects? But this is just a really great way to see where time is being devoted across the portfolio. This is in hours, but that's adjustable. You can do days, weeks, months, whatever works for your organization. We've also got a workload report on here. It's a very simple, just pie chart, but you can see that Becky and Robbie have a lot of the work, whereas Christina is only working on 4% of our issues. So it could mean that Becky and Robbie need to maybe reallocate some of their work to Christina, for example, so we can even out this workload a bit. We do know, people that are burnt out, it just makes it harder for them to enjoy work and be able to deliver quality work. And so it's nice to kind of understand, who's spending time on what, so that we can help each other out if we need to. And then lastly, just showing y'all on here time and status. That is something you can report on in custom charts. And this is a really great one if you're trying to figure out if there's any bottlenecks across your projects. We can see, for example, that in our, in our AI development project, a lot of our time is being spent in the to-do status. And why are issues, maybe that's something we need to look into, why so many issues haven't been had work started on them yet. So, and then here, why are issues spending 24 days in a blocked or escalated status? We can actually click directly into those issues and get a little bit more context on why that could be happening, so we can mitigate that. So yeah, this is just some examples you can use in a portfolio dashboard. Some final things before I pass it on to Ksenia. Just as an update for y'all, we actually have a feature that's going to be coming out pretty soon called shared dashboards, where you're going to be able to take these Jira dashboards and give visibility into them to users who don't have access to Jira. That's going to be available with a public link. So you'll create the dashboard right here on the Jira dashboard. You can customize which reports get included in that dashboard and then set that access. You can either make it public, or you can have users enter an access code and then they can see the data through that code, but you can kind of customize that dashboard and make it public. That is something that we're excited about that's coming pretty soon. And just to call out some other integrations that Custom Chart supports, you did see that we have time spent on each project. So we do work with time tracking, which is something that Timesheets does for us. And then these reports do connect to structure. So if you're using structure to include specific issues, you can connect your reports directly to structure, and you can even add a structure as a simple search field on the dashboard, so you can drill into your link charts based off a specific structure. So yeah, and we do have this app in Confluence as well, just to really quickly show you what that looks like. And then actually, I won't delve into that today, but basically it looks exactly the way it looks in Jira. You're just adding it as a macro to a page, and it has pretty much the same capabilities that we just looked at in Jira. So yeah, I'll pass it over to Ksenia to talk more about BI connectors.
Okay, now let's move to even deeper insights that we can get using BI tools. I will show you an example of Power BI, but you can use other tools of your choice like Tableau, Looker, or many others. Let's say we want to build a multi-project report covering project status, time spent on its delivery, and associated financials. For this, we will need data from three sources, Jira, Tempo timesheets, and Financial Manager. As a first step, we need to add token for Tempo products in Power BI connector. For this, we go to API integrations, and here we see the full list of applications that we have integrations with, which means that we can pull data from these applications. For Tempo products, I have already added a token just to save time, but instructions are here by the link. It's super easy and straightforward. So we go to data source creation. And since we're building multi-project report, let's select several projects. Let's just pick first ones. By the way, there is basic and GQL filter, so you can either manually select these fields or write a standard GQL request. Let's select issues, definitely the status, a bit of summary and description. By the way, we can preview data. This is our recent feature, which shows first 10 rows of the data in order to help us understand what data we're going to see in export. We can filter by types. Let's say if we're interested only in initiatives, we can filter by initiative, or if we are interested, let's say, in only completed issues, again, we can filter. Let's limit by time. Okay, moving to Tempo timesheets. In timesheets, we have plenty of tables, but we are most interested in work logs. We select the same projects. And let's select time starting from summer to see whether anyone was doing something during the summertime. And we are interested in logged time. Moving on. If someone is using Capacity Planner, they can use also tables from Capacity Planner. We have plans, we have flex plans, but let's move to Financial Manager. And again, we have plenty of different tables with various data. But since we're building project level, portfolio level report, let's concentrate on these items. So we click, I need to give it a name. We click Save, then we copy link, and we move to Power BI. We go to Get Data or Data Feed. Paste our link. Yeah, it requires authentication. We go to the basic one. And for password, we need to go to access token. Normally we can create and remember one, but I don't quite remember. That's why creating it on the fly. So our export is about to start. We see the tables that we've selected: issues, financials, and work logs. We need all of them. Yeah, let's load. And while it's loading, let me show you what kind of reports you can build on in Power BI using our connector. Let's say helicopter view, which provides high-level overview of open projects, their status, their priority, stakeholders, how many issues in each of the project, and other information. These templates are modifiable, so you can download one and then link it to your data, to your projects, and further work with them. There is also a financial manager report, which tracks project budgets, expenses, labor costs, and revenue. And let's take a look at Jira time work report, which also tracks time spent. And we can actually create one to see how it works. It's super simple, pretty automated. We create data source. The name is given. We click next. We download PBIT template, and it provides us instructions how to proceed, plus URL link. I want to modify this URL. So I go to edit, and let's say I want to filter by the smallest project on this instance, because by default it selects all projects. Oh, forgot to mention, we also support incremental refresh, which is actually with the first exports everything, but afterwards it exports only newly created items, which actually helps a lot to save time while having up-to-date information available. So in order to get our report, we go to import Power BI template. Oops. Come on. Sorry, something got wrong. Well, never mind. I'm just on remote machine. That's why something good happened. And our previous report already exported. So we can double check the data again. We click on issues and we see issues on financials, on work logs. And already with this data in Power BI, we can use all the power of Power BI visualizations and build any reports that we need in any form and shape. There is scheduled refresh that you can set up in Power BI. And let's say if you have some meeting planned 9 a.m., you can schedule update for 8 a.m. It will start automatically, and by the time you get to work, you will have your fresh data. I think that's it with the demo, and I pass it back to Inna.
Thank you, Ksenia and Becky. That really brings Jira data to life. So now that you have seen how the tools work in practice, let's look at the real customer story to see the impact they can have. Nimbus is the Atlassian managed service provider. that works with insurance companies and government organizations. And like a lot of their clients, they were struggling with the usual challenge, which is Jira native reporting wasn't giving them the right level of the visibility and customization they needed, which led to miscommunication and poor tracking of progress. The impact was big. The custom charts for Jira and Confluence could visualize progress in real life, track priorities clearly, and their teams now have the insights they need right from the Jira and could finally support better decisions and forecasting and governance. And as their CIO, Marian said, custom charts gives users more freedom than the native capabilities, but keeps things simple at the same time. So that's one of the examples how custom charts made a real difference for Nimbus. But of course, every organization is at different point of their reporting journey. So to help you see where you fit, we have put together a visual comparison so you can see where are you today and what's the next step that would add the most value to your teams. Here's a simple way to think about it. If you're mainly using Jira standard reports, you probably notice the limits pretty quickly, like basic charts and not much flexibility. And if you need more control and want to build reports that really match how your team work and where custom charts comes in, with the custom charts, you will be able to create tailored visual reports right inside Jira or Confluence. And if you're asking for deeper insights, things like blending Jira data with the financial or forecasting across the enterprise, that's when BI connectors make sense. So as you look at this table, ask yourself, are you fine with the basics? Do you need team level clarity? Or are you ready for the enterprise level analytics? That's usually the best way to decide where to start, but of course the decision is up to you. So we have seen how the pieces work on their own, but there is more. And Evelyn, over to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Inna. We do have some additional resources as well for everyone I want to walk through in a second. What I do want to share with you is that just as we mentioned before, and Inna's mentioned as well, the way Tempo's modular systems work is that you can start with whatever modules you need. What we find though is that there are certain groups of tools that work really well together, kind of at each different stage of level of work and visibility. So one thing that we have done just recently is just to make this easier for organizations to know what they need to adopt or what they would like to work together with, is that we have these collections. So again, you can still work with just the tools that you need, but what we are finding is that these ones together serve very, very a set of use cases that a lot of our customers work with every day. So what you saw today was the portfolio visibility level of our collection of apps. What I do want to share with customers and with others is that grouping these together has allowed us to do think of it like a bundle approach. So if there's tools that you are missing from a collection or you are interested in getting started in another one, we're making it much easier to purchase them. We can get in contact with you later if this is something that you want more information on. But right now we're trying to make it very, very attractive and easy to adopt for customers who are looking to move their organizations forward and solve all these lovely problems that get in the way. The resources, I have one poll question before we get to the Q&A, but before I do that, I want to share that in this deck that you'll get slides to after, there are going to be links to additional resources, free resources that are available on our website. One that we wanted to point out is the portfolio management and dashboard. So a best practices guide, regardless of what tools you're using. There's some really good tips and tricks in there that might benefit you or other teammates that you would want to send that to. Next week, we're going to do a deeper dive, just like this one today, on our some of the tools that you heard about. So timesheets, financial manager, and capacity planner. Those tools honestly work very well for project control and management, getting bringing control to the chaos, which fills our lives when it comes to managing projects. We have a webinar next week if you're interested. Or if there's one that you've seen that you missed before, feel free to register or to watch a recording. And then also, if you go just to tempo.io and our resources, again, links are in the slides, so don't have to write them down. We have a ton of assets, a ton of resources, guides, checkbooks, checklists, and customer stories that you can explore. So you'll expect that in your inbox in probably the next 2 days. I want to get to lots of really good questions that were posted. Before I do that, if you could raise this one, if you would like more information or want to talk to us about what these tools could do for your business, or which of these modules might be right for what you're trying to achieve, or either any of these collections, we can absolutely reach out and get in touch with you. Just let us know if this is something that you probably like more of a custom personalized demo to really understand how it would fit within your business. Because again, as you saw, they're entirely flexible tools. So we can do that and reach out after the fact. I'd be happy to help you with that. Now, give that a moment just to let everyone kind of respond. Let us know what your next step would like to be. And then, Ina, I think you have a list of a bunch of juicy questions. Some have been answered in the chat. If some have been repeated questions, which we want to answer for everyone. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And actually just a moment, because everyone can come back on camera so you know who you're talking to.
We've got quite a few questions. We will try our best to answer them all. And to start with, the first question will be, can we track progress against non-agile metrics such as budget burn down, resource utilization across different roles, or return on investment?
I can take this one. Well, if you're capturing those values inside Jira, for example, through timesheets or custom fields, custom charts can visualize them. For more advanced analytics like return on investment or cross-role utilization, BI connectors would be a better fit because you can blend Jira data with financials, with HR data inside, let's say, Power BI, so you can link it with other non-Jira sources.
All right, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so the next one, how do both tools handle data consistency and hygiene across multiple Jira projects? Our teams use different workflows and custom fields.
Okay, for custom charts, they will show you whatever is in Jira. So if fields are not aligned, not standardized, you'll see inconsistency on the dashboard, field by field. BI connectors go a step further since they pull raw data into Power BI or Tableau or Looker. Afterwards, you can clean it up, normalize, and process the data before shaping actual reports.
Perfect. I hope that answers the question. The next one, can the reports be automated and distributed to stakeholders? We kind of answered that partially, but let's read it completely. Can the reports be automated and distributed to stakeholders on a set schedule? How is the level of access and data visibility managed for different user groups?
Yeah, I can take this one.
Perfect.
Yeah, so the custom charts dashboards, they update live in Jira. They can be shared through Confluence too, if you're using that add-on. And they are going to be mostly accessed by and managed by your Jira permissions. And then BI connectors lets you set refreshes manually, and you can schedule them to a suitable time or on demand. You can also only refresh the new or change data using the incremental refresh feature. BI connectors for Jira also respects Jira permissions and role-based access. But once a report is created and published in PBI service, you can then share that with required stakeholders.
Perfect. Thank you. I'm really excited about the next question. Thank you for asking that. Do you plan to leverage AI? If so, what would that look like?
Yeah, so for custom charts, we're already taking steps to leverage that. So we're working on the custom charts Rovo, which will the Rovo agent, which will simplify the way you can create tailored visuals from your Jira data. So instead of having to manually figure out your chart configurations, you can just ask the assistant. It'll guide you through chart creation, answer your configuration questions, and help you pick the best way to display your data. Rovo agent for BI connectors is coming too. That's planned for Q4 of 2025.
Wow, really looking forward.
Yeah.
The next question is, can we create custom metrics and calculated fields using your tools? I believe we can address both custom charts and BI connectors.
Yeah, I can talk on those. So for custom charts, you can use it to create custom metrics based on any custom field you have in Jira or any system field you have, and display those on your charts on the dashboard or on your Confluence page. It is real-time visualization of data as it exists in Jira, so the data is constantly up to date. And then for BI connectors, you can, but the custom metrics are defined and managed entirely within the external BI tool. So the connector's role is really to provide the raw data, and then the data analyst can come in and perform any calculation they want to, from custom fields to complex formulas.
Perfect. How do you help with tracking cross-project dependencies?
Yeah, so for custom charts, it does respect Jira's hierarchies and integrates with apps like we looked at earlier, like Structure, to show initiative level rollups. And then you can also look at that parent field in Jira to get that hierarchy as well. You can also note any issues that have been flagged as a dependency or anything like that. And then BI connectors, you can export all those fields. So in Power BI or Tableau, you can design your own hierarchy logic and then do custom rollups with that.
Right. Thank you, Becky. The next question, I would say one of the most frequently asked by our customers. How do you perform with the large volume of data? For example, a portfolio with the hundreds of projects.
Yeah, let's start with BI connectors. The app is designed for enterprise level scalability. So it offloads the processing of large data sets to the, let's say, Power BI, and it minimizes any performance impact on the Jira instance. So it is safe, and yes, you can load large data volumes. For custom charts, performance is tied to Jira's overall performance, and you can control performance settings as a Jira admin. As a PMO, you would need to be mindful on how complex queries or large data sets may impact dashboard loading times. Queries are executed in real time within Jira. With too big, you might need to wait.
And the next one is, can these solutions integrate data from non-Jira sources? Interesting.
Well, for custom charts, unfortunately, no, since it lives in Jira and cannot integrate with external non-Jira data sources. But as shown during the demo, you can integrate, custom charts integrates with Jira-based applications like timesheets, Structure. BI connectors are super flexible, and I would say it's a core strength of connectors that within BI tool, you can connect sources coming from different applications and not only Jira.
Right, perfect. And just to add more here, that both custom charts and BI connectors provide a wide range of other Jira add-ons integrations. So please take a look and explore in action. And we are running a little bit of time, so I'm gonna touch up the last question for today. What level of expertise is required for initial setup and ongoing administration?
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Good.
Go
Okay.
ahead, Becky.
Okay. So for custom charts, the initial setup is really easy, and it can be done by Jira admins or just your regular end user, and it's just by adding gadget to a dashboard, or if you're in Confluence, it's adding macros to the page. The only like coding you would potentially even want to use is Jira query language, and that's not even required. So it's really easy to build your visualizations within Jira. And then for BI connectors, the setup requires a Jira admin to install the connector and then set up permissions. And then a data analyst with expertise in the target BI tool, like Power BI, for example, is needed for the ongoing administration of data sources, modeling, and then report creation.
Perfect. Right. Thank you, everyone, for all your interesting and exciting questions.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank you, speakers. Take care.